Recently, I asked a student in a class why she wanted to learn how to shoot a gun. And she said something very fascinating to me. She said, "Ryan, I have been afraid of firearms my entire life." Now, I found this to be really fascinating. This young woman has realized the importance of having a firearm in today's society due to the increase in the riots, the violence, and the chaos. So she knows she needs a gun to protect herself and protect her family. However, she's still kind of got that fear. She's still afraid of them. Now, you may be very similar to this woman. You may realize the importance of a gun, but you still kind of have the fear of it. So in this video, we're going to talk about exactly what you can do to overcome your fear of firearms. What's up, sheepdogs? Ryan here with Carey University. If you are brand new to the channel, consider subscribing. So we talk about everything you need to know to become a safe and responsible concealed carry permit holder. Florida gun law, gun reviews, holster reviews, and a lot more. So click that subscribe button right now. Now, what are most new gun owners afraid of? There's quite a few things that I find that's pretty common with my students of what they are afraid of when it comes to guns. Number one is fear of the recoil. This is the energy of the firearm discharging in the shooter's hand. Number two is fear of the sound. If you're a very sound sensitive type person, I'll go to the range shooting with students all the time, and somebody near us will shoot and the student jumps. And I always tell them, you'll get used to it. Eventually it won't bother you. But that fear of the sound, it's a real fear. Next is the fear of being injured or killed with a gun. This makes sense because the media has been telling you for decades, most of your life, that firearms are very dangerous and that thousands and thousands of people are dying every single year. Fourth is the fear of having firearms in their homes around children. Now listen, I get it. We all want our children to be safe. My children are pretty young. My daughter Paisley is 11, Lincoln is 9, and Jackson is 6. All three of them have been shooting guns since they were about 4 and 5 years old. And it is definitely possible to educate and teach your children about proper firearm safety. But as we're going to discuss later in this video, and I also break this down in intricate detail in my course, The Expert's Guide to Kids and Guns, having firearms with children is a two-pronged approach. It's education, making sure your children understand gun safety, know what they can and can't do with those guns, but it's also about keeping the firearms secured where your kids can never have access to them. The fifth thing that people get afraid of is they are intimidated by the gun culture. Many times the gun culture, what new gun owners see, is they see lots of hardcore military type people, very patriotic, gun rights this, gun rights that, kind of overly aggressive, hunters, stuff like that. I hear it from people all the time. We try very hard at Carey University to not have that kind of culture, even though those are all things I believe. I love guns, I love the Second Amendment, I was in the military, I love all those things, right? But I also don't want to scare or intimidate people by being too hardcore. I'll save that for my buddies. So many times they can get afraid of that. And finally, one of the biggest things that kind of puts people off for the fear of guns is shooting the wrong caliber firearm in the past. When I was a kid, I lived on a farm in Oregon. My dad and his buddy were out shooting guns in the field, and they said, hey, Ryan, come here. So I'm like 11, 10 or something like that. I come up and he said, "Ryan, lay down and shoot that rifle." And I'm like, okay. So I lay down. I'm a kid. You think I can trust my dad. That's what you're supposed to believe, right? So I lay down. I press the trigger. I felt like I got kicked in the face by a horse. And I got up and said, "I don't like either of you." There were some other choice words. And I said, "I'm going in the house." So what I realized is they thought it was hilarious. They're laughing and they decided it was funny. But they put me behind a 300 Win Mag rifle. Even adults today don't enjoy shooting a 300 Win Mag. It's a lot of recoil. But as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid, it was one of the worst days of my life. So that was a negative experience in my mind that makes me not want to shoot guns in the future. Okay, so here's the big question. How do you overcome your fear of guns? Number one, is you must eliminate all of the risks associated with guns while reaping all the rewards. I want you to remember for a second when you were about 15, 16 years old and you're learning how to drive. Now, did your parents put you behind the wheel immediately and say, listen, turn onto this on-ramp, get onto the freeway, you're gonna have to floor it, you're gonna have to get to 80 miles, merge, make sure you don't clip anybody, or we're all gonna die? Did they do that? Of course not, because that would be very high risk with very low potential reward. That student, that driver, would be so overwhelmed because of that increased risk that they just wouldn't want to do this anymore. Instead, what your parents probably did is they brought you to an empty parking lot like Home Depot late at night, and they had you drive around the parking lot where the risk is completely lowered, possibly even eliminated, while you are gaining all the benefits of real world experience driving your car. We want to do the exact same thing for you as you begin to learn how to handle a firearm properly. Now, some of the ways you can do this is you could utilize an airsoft gun. So airsoft guns like this one, they allow you to operate the firearm in almost an identical way as a real gun and even simulate some of the felt recoil. You could use a laser pistol like this CERT training pistol, or you could use a real firearm. Just make sure you install a barrel plug. A barrel plug is a cool little device that prevents any live ammunition from getting inside of the chamber. Again, our goal is to eliminate risk and reap all of those rewards. One of the major risks is a gun accidentally going off, and if we can prevent live bullets from even getting into the gun, that's going to be a pretty big win for you. Number 2, you must understand how a pistol and a revolver works. The only way you can truly feel comfortable and feel safe with something is if you have a deep understanding of how that item operates. Number 3, you have to realize that your fear of firearms is irrational. As long as you have a deep understanding of gun safety and shooting fundamentals, guns are very safe. I've been shooting guns, my entire life and have not had anybody get injured or get hurt. Not even close to that. Number 4, you need to start with a small caliber. Recently I had a woman show up for a private range training at the range. So she has never shot a gun before, and she brought her husband's .45 ACP. Now 45 is a very big caliber. I love shooting it. It's one of my favorites, but it is not a very good caliber for a first-time shooter. I told her that, and she didn't really believe me. So I said, that's fine, we'll shoot it. So she shot a couple rounds, and then she said, yeah, I don't really like this. And I said, I didn't think you would. So I gave her a smaller gun. I gave her a Smith & Wesson 380 Shield EZ. She shot it and she loved it. I believe it is far more important for you as a new shooter to feel confident and safe with the gun and to have a firearm that you can shoot on your own than it is to have some massive caliber that's going to scare you. So choosing the right caliber gun is a huge step in you overcoming your fear. Number 5, you've got to learn how to use a firearm safely. Again, I find myself at the gun range most days of the week, and many times I see people at the gun range that do not understand how to be safe with the firearm. These are individuals that went out, they knew they wanted a gun, they rushed out and got a gun at a gun store, but they never really took the time to watch videos like this. They never received professional training from a qualified instructor. They just kind of went onto the gun range and said, oh, I'll figure this out. Or I'm just going to have my buddy teach me. Well, the reality is your buddy probably doesn't know what they're talking about. And because of this, many people never learn how to properly and safely handle a firearm. But if you do, if you really learn this stuff on a deep level, you will overcome your fear of guns lightning fast. Number 6 is learning the proper fundamentals of pistol shooting. Again, confidence comes. Your ability and comfort is going to come from consistent, deliberate practice over an extended period of time. We'll use this car analogy again, right? In the beginning, when you're first learning how to drive, you're very stressed, you're very nervous, and you're looking at all the mirrors, you're checking, tapping the brake, hitting the gas too hard, hitting the brake too hard. There's just so much stuff you got to think about. But over the years, as you drove your car consistently, deliberately, and over an extended period of time, those functions became more automated. They became more automatic to the point that today, you don't really have to think about it. That's how you're going to become with guns if you learn the proper shooting fundamentals the right way, the very first time. The seventh way you're gonna overcome your fear is to learn how to properly store firearms in your home. You know, you gotta think for a second. We have a lot of very dangerous stuff inside of our houses. We all have chemicals under the sink. We have knives in the drawer. I have very sharp knives sitting on the counter. We have the oven, which is really hot. We have the garage, which has a bunch of dangerous tools, chemicals, and all kinds of random stuff. Now, all of those things, we had to teach my kids at a young age that they are not allowed to touch the chemicals, that they are not allowed to touch the knives. Now, we, as responsible parents, we also had the locks on the counters, but as we all know, those locks sometimes work and sometimes don't work. So we had to balance the education and the physical security to prevent our kids from accessing those items. Same thing works with your guns. You need to educate your children about gun safety, and again, my course talks about this, and you also need to properly store those firearms in a gun safe 100% of the time. Now, step 8 in overcoming your fear is to buy a gun. Now, I know this sounds crazy. People always say to me, Ryan, I don't want to have a gun until I feel safe with a gun. In reality, you will never feel safe with a firearm until you buy a firearm. Now, I encourage you to get a gun, but do not purchase any live ammunition. Buy a gun. You want to buy something called dummy rounds or snap caps, which I have available on my website. You can get them on Amazon too. But this allows you to practice loading and unloading your gun safely in your home. Because again, remember, our goal is to eliminate risk and reap all the rewards. If you do not buy any live bullets, this eliminates the possibility of something dangerous happening and somebody getting hurt. And the final way for you to overcome your fear of guns is to practice consistently the right way. Now, this does not mean going to a gun range and actually shooting. This is a big mistake that people make. The vast majority of your training with a gun, especially in the beginning, should be with an unloaded firearm inside your house. This is called dry weapons handling. And this is exactly why I created the course, The Beginner's Guide to Firearms. The Beginner's Guide to Firearms was specifically designed for new or first-time shooters who want to learn to become safe, responsible gun owners. This course will teach you everything you need to know to really become that, overcome your fear, and how to train with your firearm properly the very first time inside of your house. I'm going to include a link down below if any of you want to take advantage of this amazing course. It really is awesome. I've watched a lot of my students' abilities and confidence really soar with this class, and I promise it'll have the same effect with you. So, thanks for watching, Sheepdogs. Again, leave a comment down below if you have a question, and until next time, keep training and stay safe.